The world's most impactful thinkers were never limited to one subject. They were explorers of ideas. People who crossed boundaries between science, art, philosophy, and engineering as if those borders didn't exist. Leonardo da Vinci could paint masterpieces while designing machines centuries ahead of his time. Albert Einstein didn't just solve equations, he used music and philosophy to shape how he thought about the universe. Their true advantage wasn't just intelligence. It was their ability to connect knowledge across different fields. And today, that ability is more valuable than ever. The problems of the modern world are complex, interconnected, and constantly changing. No single subject is enough to understand them fully. The people who will thrive in the future are not those who know one thing perfectly, but those who can see how everything fits together. That is what it means to be a polymath, and it is something you can start becoming right now. In school, you're often encouraged to specialize early, choose your stream, focus on one area. Study for the exam, but real life doesn't work like that. Real problems are not separated into neat chapters. Technology requires psychology and design. Medicine requires chemistry, biology, and data science. Even business depends on understanding human behavior, mathematics, and communication. When you learn across multiple domains, your thinking becomes more flexible and creative. You start recognizing patterns that repeat across subjects: systems, feedback loops, cause and effect optimization. These patterns allow you to solve problems faster and more effectively because you're not trapped in one way of thinking. Instead of memorizing information, you understand how ideas connect. That is the true power of a polymath mind. It turns knowledge into a network rather than isolated facts. Every polymath begins with depth in one core area. This is your anchor, the subject where you go deep, practice consistently, and build true understanding. It might be physics, mathematics, writing, coding, or design. This pillar gives your thinking structure and discipline. Without depth, learning many things becomes shallow and scattered. But with one strong base, every new skill you learn has something to connect to. You are not trying to be average at everything. You are building a strong center and then expanding outward from it. Once you have your pillar, you begin to explore other areas that either support it or contrast with it. This is where your uniqueness forms. If your main subject is physics, you might learn coding to simulate ideas, mathematics to strengthen your reasoning, and philosophy to question assumptions. If your main subject is writing, you might study psychology to understand people, history to gain context, and design to communicate visually. But the key is not just learning these subjects separately, it is actively connecting them. Ask yourself how one idea relates to another. Notice patterns that repeat across fields. When you do this consistently, your brain begins to think in systems rather than subjects. This is where creativity and original thinking start to emerge, because you are combining knowledge in ways most people never attempt. Knowledge only becomes powerful when you use it. The fastest way to grow as a polymath is to build things that combine your different interests. You could create a YouTube channel explaining scientific ideas in simple ways, write essays connecting history and psychology, design a small app that solves a real problem, or conduct your own research-style projects. When you create, you are forced to organize your thoughts, fill in gaps in your understanding, and apply ideas in real situations. This transforms passive learning into active mastery. It also helps you develop communication skills, which are essential for sharing complex ideas clearly. Over time, your projects become proof of your abilities, not just what you know, but what you can do with what you know. Becoming a polymath is not about doing more work or studying more hours than everyone else. It is about learning differently. It is about building depth in one area, expanding into others, and constantly connecting ideas together. When you do this, your mind stops seeing subjects as separate boxes and starts seeing them as one interconnected system. In a world where knowledge is growing faster than ever, the people who succeed will not be those who memorize the most information. They will be the ones who can understand, combine, and apply knowledge across boundaries. That is the real advantage of becoming a polymath. So start today, choose your pillar, explore beyond it. Connect everything you learn. and begin building a mind that can understand not just one subject, but the world as a whole. If you want more videos on studying smarter, thinking deeper, and mastering multiple skills, subscribe and comment Polymath.